This is The Artificial Man by Clare Winger Harris, published in the 1929 issue of Science Wonder Quarterly magazine, narrated by ElevenLabs digital audio voice Anna Rita 2. The Parting. An artificial kidney has been invented recently and tried out successfully on dogs. A cylinder of glass contains a number of celloidin tubes which strain the poisons out of the blood. At length, after weary days and nights of indecision, Rosalind came to the conclusion that she could not marry George Gregory. She longed to tell David of her feelings, but could not because she was conscious of her love for the young doctor. The subject of marriage had not been mentioned by either George or Rosalind since the second accident, but instinctively the girl felt that her lover's previous offer at the time of his lost leg to release her from their engagement was not to be renewed, though he must have known that his qualifications as a husband were now fewer than they could possibly have been before. The moment that Rosalind had dreaded came at last. They were strolling together one evening toward the outskirts of the town. The moon softened with its silvery glow, objects that in the glare of noon stood out in too bold relief. As they left the highway for the river path, George said, "Let us set a day for the wedding. I've waited long enough." As he spoke, he put around her waist an arm, not one with which nature had equipped him, but one so cunningly wrought that a casual observer would never have known. But Rosalind knew. She shuddered, and in that act George Gregory knew that his doom was sealed. "I can't marry you, George," she pleaded in a hoarse, unnatural voice. "I am sorry that it is so, but I cannot do it." The man laughed, and the tones chilled the heart of the girl. "You said once that my identity remained, no matter what the physical imperfections of my body. Now you deny it." His voice rose in his excitement. "Listen, oh George," she cried, now thoroughly panic-stricken. "You are yourself allowing your mental attitude toward life to be altered. You have admitted it. Had you remained unchanged mentally, I truly believe your physical difference would not have mattered. I loved you for what you were, but George, you are so changed." "Yes, I am changed," he shrieked, "but my desires and passions are no different, unless intensification indicates a difference." He reached toward her, but, adept as he was in the use of his two artificial limbs, she eluded his grasp and was off with a bound up the rough river path and toward the highway. She heard distinctly the sound of pursuit. Could he outrun her handicapped as he was? Once he fell, and the sound of muttered oaths came to her ears. On and on she flew, not daring to look back, though she suspected that he was gaining. Just within the border of the town, where the houses were somewhat scattered, he caught her, and simultaneously she fainted away. When consciousness returned, a dear familiar face was bent near her own. With a sob of joy she put her arms about David's neck, and in a few endearing words they plighted their troth. David, on his way back from a professional call, where he was substituting for old Dr. Amos, who was ill, had witnessed from a distance the two running figures. Before he arrived upon the spot with his car, the pursuing form had overtaken the other. To rescue a maiden from the arms of her lover seemed a very peculiar service to render, but one look into the eyes of George Gregory proved to the doctor beyond the question of a doubt that he was not dealing with a sane man. The contest was an unequal one, though the agility displayed by the cripple would have done credit to a normal man of more than average prowess. David tried to reason with his antagonist, but the use of logic at that time was unavailing. It was a hard struggle, but George was finally willing to admit himself defeated.